Kamala Harris is also mirroring the positions of the Open Society Foundation and Alex Soros with regard to Ukraine. Now, again, I'm not claiming that Kamala Harris is being bribed to believe all these things. I'm pointing out that she's aligned with this entire agenda. She is. That's the reason the money is passing hands. The reason that people give money to politicians in general is for one of two reasons. One, to either buy influence, or two, to back a candidate who already backs the point of view they're fostering. Either one of those means that she is in alignment with Alex Soros, one of the most left-wing people in the West, period. So, Kamala Harris, the Open Society Foundation, they're all on the same side with regard to Ukraine. It is totally unclear to me exactly what the investment is that George Soros has in Ukraine. And it's always been a very weird issue, Ukraine. It's become left-coded, the issue of Ukraine resisting a Russian invasion. Honestly, I think the reason it became so left-coded is almost as a response to what happened in the United States with Russiagate. At the right, because they were so pissed off at Russiagate, was like, well, is Russia that bad? And the left, because they were so pissed off at Russia, because they think that Russia stole the 2016 election, decided that they were finally going to become anti-Russian. But I'm old enough to remember when it was Barack Obama who was making kiss-ass moves toward Vladimir Putin and his allies. So it's all very puzzling. However, for whatever reason, Ukraine has become a left-coded issue in the United States and abroad. And because of that, Kamala Harris is out there actively campaigning using Volodymyr Zelensky. This is an amazing thing. It really is. I mean, imagine if during the 2020 election, Donald Trump had personally had Bibi Netanyahu to the White House and then had basically cudgeled Netanyahu into ripping on Democrats. That's effectively what Kamala Harris has done here. She's not even the president of the United States right now. She's the vice president of the United States. So what is she even doing in a meeting with Volodymyr Zelensky? There weren't a lot of Mike Pence, Bibi Netanyahu public events, for example, or even Mike Pence, Volodymyr Zelensky public events. You have to go as far as Israel. Anyway, Kamala Harris decides that she is going to do a campaign event because everything is now a campaign event. She's the one running for president. So she does a campaign event with Volodymyr Zelensky in which she uses the opportunity to meet with Zelensky to basically say that Donald Trump cannot be elected president of the United States, which is pretty incredible. So she starts off by saying that she's going to continue to stand with Ukraine. Again, the administration standing with Ukraine has meant slow-walking aid sufficient to prevent the full-scale takeover of Kyiv, but certainly not enough to push the Russians to the table, apparently. Here is Kamala Harris.
As I have made clear on our 6 previous meetings and throughout Putin's brutal aggression and war against Ukraine, my support for the people of Ukraine is unwavering. I've been proud to stand with Ukraine. I will continue to stand with Ukraine, and I will work to ensure Ukraine prevails in this war.
Now, of course, she didn't stop there. She then went on to obliquely smack Trump and Vance while standing next to Zelensky. Now, honestly, I got to feel a little bad for Zelensky. Zelensky is the leader of a country that is currently under assault from a predator country. Okay, Russia is the predator in Ukraine. Whatever you think the rationale for the war was, I'm not sure whether you think that it's reasonable for Vladimir Putin to simply walk into Kyiv or not. I think very few people believe that in reality, that Vladimir Putin is the good guy in this particular conflict. Getting into credit card debt, super simple. Getting out, well, that's very, very difficult. The system is set up to make it hard. If you're struggling with credit cards, personal loans, collections, or medical bills, you need to check out PDS Debt. PDS provides a service to match you with debt solutions tailored to your financial situation. If you're making payments every month on your debt and your balances aren't going down, PDS has solutions for you. Everyone with 10 grand or more in eligible debt qualifies. There's no minimum credit score required. Bad and fair credit is accepted. Again, I have friends who've gotten in debt, really, really difficult for them to get out without some sort of solution provided by a place like PDS Debt. PDS Debt has customized options for everyone. They strive to understand your specific scenario. They can help provide alternative solutions to becoming debt-free. Save more while paying off your debt in a fraction of the time. Stop waiting. Start saving. Get a free debt analysis right now. PDSdebt.com/Shapiro. It only takes 30 seconds. That's PDSdebt.com/Shapiro today. PDSdebt.com/Shapiro. Don't let those bills keep racking up without restructuring that debt. Taking a look, PDSdebt.com/Shapiro. Takes 30 seconds to get that free debt analysis right now. So if you're Volodymyr Zelensky and you're leading a besieged country, now with all of the flaws of his leadership and all of the problems with the measures that he's taken, and you're basically being forced by the current administration to do campaign events for the vice president, I fail to see how this is in any way different from what Donald Trump was impeached over. Truly. Donald Trump was supposedly impeached for forcing Volodymyr Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, to do campaign activities by targeting Joe Biden and Hunter Biden in Ukraine in order to receive aid. This is even more direct. This is Kamala Harris and Joe Biden flying Volodymyr Zelensky in so she can do campaign events where she rips her political opponent standing next to Volodymyr Zelensky. And the tacit threat is obvious, which is if you don't do this, then we will look askance at your own efforts. Right? You want to do us a solid? Wink, wink. You're going to have to show up. And you're going to have to do what Kamala Harris needs you to do. Now, normally, a foreign leader in a time of war tries to appeal to both sides of it. It may fail. Bibi Netanyahu has tried to appeal to Democrats and Republicans. Some Democrats are up for it. Many Democrats are not. But he at least attempts. Zelensky is trying to do the same thing. He's actually going to meet with Donald Trump. Despite all of their various problems between one another, Zelensky is apparently meeting directly with Trump. But that's not what Harris is doing. Harris and the White House, Harris and Biden, are bringing in Volodymyr Zelensky to the White House to do a campaign event for Kamala Harris. And this clip makes that clear. She's literally standing next to Zelensky, who's only there to obtain more aid from the United States to continue the war. And she is using him as a prop, as a human prop, in order to suggest that her political opponent wants Russia to win.
There are some in my country who would instead force Ukraine to give up large parts of its sovereign territory, who would demand that Ukraine accept neutrality and would require Ukraine to forego security relationships with other nations. These proposals are the same of those of Putin. And let us be clear, they are not proposals for peace. Instead, they are proposals for surrender, which is dangerous and unacceptable.
And Zelensky is standing there trying, not to react because he understands that Donald Trump may very well be the president, and that's the person who he's going to have to deal with. Really disgusting stuff. If this were a Republican vice president running for president, impeachable stuff, perhaps. But don't worry. The White House says the real problem here is that Republicans are pouncing. It's that you're politicizing the thing that we're politicizing. We politicized the thing, and now you're noticing, which is politicization. Here's Karine Jean-Pierre, world's worst press secretary, explaining it's a political stunt to investigate Volodymyr Zelensky's visit to the swing state of Pennsylvania to go to a munitions factory to hang out with Kamala Harris surrogate Josh Shapiro.
We would encourage the House Republicans to drop this. This is a political stunt. They need to drop this, and anything else. I think I gave a lot here, a lot of good layout of how this all occurred. But anything else specific, I would certainly refer you to the DOD.
Ridiculous people. Ridiculous people. It has nothing to do with politics. He just ended up in a swing state in the final weeks of an election, touring with Josh Shapiro. Weird how that worked. Super duper duper weird. Are you tired of the lies and the twists of the mainstream media talking points? Yeah, me too. Join me in my newest series, Fact, where I dismantle and bring truth to this tiring mainstream agenda.